Now most commentators, with attitudes varying from awe to rage, recognize that we're sticking to our policy. Oh yes, we've been to the IMF, but unlike the last government, we went not as a nation seeking help, but as a country giving help to others, a much more fitting role for Britain. From socialist supplicant to conservative contributor. With inflation falling, interest rates coming down, and honest finance, confidence is returning. In spite of hostilities in the South Atlantic, the exchange rate held steady. What a tribute to the determined and unruffled chancellorship of Geoffrey Howe. No longer will the saver find his money devalued. No longer shall we have two nations, those who profit from inflation and those who lose by it. No longer will paper booms explode in confetti money. Mr. President, there is no road to inflation-free prosperity except through our own efforts. 200 years ago, Edmund Burke blamed the French revolutionaries for trying everywhere to evade and slip aside from difficulty. He said they had a fondness for trickery and shortcuts. Mr. President, there are just as many evaders and shortcutters around today. In the Labour Party, in the SDP, and among the Liberals, taken jointly or severally according to taste. Inflate a little here, expand a bit there is also easy. Mr. President, in real life, such shortcuts often turn out to be dead ends. In the 60s and 70s, the fashion was to say that the long term doesn't matter very much, because as Maynard Keynes put it, in the long run, we're all dead. Anyone who thought like that would never plant a tree. And we're in the business of planting trees for our children and grandchildren, or we have no business to be in politics at all. We are not a one-generation party. We do not intend to let Britain become a one-generation society. Let us not forget the lesson of history. The long term always starts today. But, Mr. President, falling inflation on its own won't ensure growth and jobs. We need other things too. Whether we like it or not, things are changing. They're changing in technology, as we've seen at this conference with this thing that comes up. We keep abreast of the times. They're changing on the map. Faraway countries scarcely heard of 10 years ago now overtake us in our traditional industries. Suddenly we're faced with the need to do everything at once, to wake up, catch up, then overtake, even though the future is as hard to predict as ever. So we have to look as far into that future as we can. Make sure that all the best talents are free to work at full stretch to help to lead this country into that future. Now, socialists believe that the state can do this better than individuals. Nothing could be more misguided. They are wrong. We can't opt out of the technology race and try to stand comfortably aside. If we were to do so, we should lose not just particular products, but whole industries. And we dare not leave our neighbours to inherit the world of the microchip. As one production engineer put it, the real threat in new technology is the threat of your worst enemies using it. Mr. President, inflation hasn't been beaten even when prices stop rising. It's beaten only when costs stop rising. And that makes wage costs vital. Pay must relate to output, as every self-employed person will tell you. In the last 5 years of the 1970s, the amount we in Britain paid ourselves for what we produced went up by nearly 100%. 100%. In Germany, that increase was only 15%. In Japan, it was 0. Of course, Japanese workers got more pay, but only for more output. So they got the orders and we lost the jobs. The CBI put it starkly. Because we have lost over 100% of the home market to imports. I'm sorry, that's not what they said. Because we have lost 10% of the home markets to imports and 2.5% of world export markets to our competitors, in the last 12 years, we have lost 1.5 million jobs. 1.5 million jobs. Through losing a fair chunk of our home market to importers and a fair chunk of the export markets to our competitors. Now, there's a challenge to management and unions. Get those markets back, and we shall get our jobs back.